everybody to be involved, because this is it's not an easy process, and it's something that we take very seriously. Not just myself, but this entire common council. Last year, when we were doing the budget process, I said the next year, which means this year, will probably be one of the hardest tax years that we're ever going to have. One of the toughest budgets that we're ever going to have, and it came to fruition. I knew from last year. And we started working on this budget many, many months ago. Mrs. Scalise, who's head of the Finance Committee, and we started a long time ago with this entire council, and the past council actually. And since January, the new council came in, and we have some deal. They have been working hard on it. Let me just explain a little bit of the process in the meantime. It is incumbent upon me as your mayor to make sure that you have the services you need in the city of Utica. That you have the police, the fire, the DPW.
Mr. Mayor, we can only afford the services. We need the services that we can afford.
I understand, Mr. Spanik, and I'm going to get to that, and it's nice to see you don't remember that I was on your Little League team. You were my coach. You didn't remember me. I wasn't that good anyway, Mr. Spanik. But, in all honesty, I think it was the Braves. In all honesty, we talked about so many things. And when the budget first came up, and we were looking at tax increases, and we said, cutting nothing, you're at probably 20-something%. I cut over $1 million of payroll out of this budget. Since January 2008, since I've taken over, I've put over $1 million of payroll, 30-something positions. I know you don't read about it, but that's accurate. And the common council helped me do some of these things. Yes, I know more. We have to do more, and we've been doing more. And let me just finish. As far as a lot of the overtime, and I forgot the gentleman that said it. Maybe it was Mark, or I don't know who said about the unions and about half pay. Just up until last Friday, I tried to ask the police union to give back what they call show-up time, show-up pay, for 1 year, because I thought that would help us. Now, I understand why they get it. And it's been bargained into their contracts. You've got to understand that these contracts have been around for years and years and years and years. And do we have to change them? Yes, we do. It is a tough thing to change them. And I've been trying. I've only been here 24 months. But I've been trying to change those. What we have been able to do, I wasn't successful with the show-up time. And that's that 15 minutes beforehand that someone had mentioned. So I had no alternative than to go to layoffs, to more layoffs. Now, when we talk about bargaining and unions, I don't want to bash the unions, because a lot of you will probably have union jobs out there. But, they have us. And it's been bargained into their contracts for many years. Overtime, show-up time, all-day time, all kinds of things. And I come from the private sector. And don't think that I don't get upset. Don't think that I don't. I do. I get very upset. I listen to it, I look at it, sometimes I shake my head. Do they work hard? Yes, they do. Do they put their lives in jeopardy every day? Yes, they do.
No joke.
Policemen, I'm going to tell you something, I wouldn't want their job. Every car that they pull over, every time I see them pull over a car, I worry. Firemen, every time they go into one fire, do I worry? Absolutely, I worry. And when we had a fireman last week, just a routine car fire, he lifted the hood, the battery burst. All of his face is charred. He almost lost his eye. These are the little things. Do they work hard? Yes, they do. Are they in jeopardy? Yes, they are. But my job is to try to balance the services, the taxes, while keeping you living safely in your homes. Are we working on that? Yes, we are. Has the common council worked hard on that? Yes, these people have. They've spent countless hours. And, the health insurance. I just brought back all the unions to the table. It's the first time in history that all the unions came back to the table. I've sat them down, CSCA, police union, fire union. So I can't say that they didn't give us anything. Right now, we're at the very end of the negotiations where I've negotiated our health insurance down to one carrier, down to one plan, so that we can save over the next 2 years over $1 million. You don't read about that either. I tell them, they're not listening to me. They don't print it the way that. But I can't, how many times can I say it? But they have gone back to the table with that. Do we need to do more? Yes. The negotiations are going on. That's when I'm going to go back with them again. Thank you for the health insurance. But we do need to do more. I understand that you live in your homes. So do I. If my mom didn't live with me, right in my household, with myself, my children, my mom couldn't have kept her home. She couldn't have done it. She only makes $1,000 or $1,090 a month.
She probably paid too much in taxes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. You know, the pension system, the New York State pension system that we inherit, you know, when Wall Street fell, you know, New York State tells you that your pensions, and for those of you who have pensions, they tell you that your pensions are fine.
They're not.
Well, yes, they are fine. Well, in past years, we used to get bills for the pension system, $300,000, Mr. Swinner, $400,000. We got a bill this year for the New York State pension system, not just for currently, but for retirees, everything. $4.7 million was our contribution this year. Quite frankly, where do you overcome it? How do you overcome it? Just by the cuts that we're making. And I apologize if we started with an 18% tax increase and gone down to a 7% tax increase. But let me tell you just how the process works. When we started this process, we looked at sales tax because there's many communities throughout the country that are looking at sales tax. Half of the council wanted to look at sales tax, half didn't. So I brought in Senator Grifo and Assemblywoman Vestito to talk about it, because that's got to go to the legislature for a vote. And the reason why we were late with the budget is because I didn't want to bring sales tax, and I'm not an advocate of a new tax, by no means, believe me. I got to tell you the truth, I can't stand government at times. I come from the private sector. But when you talk about bringing in, sorry, I'm driving.